What's up, you guys? Hope you're doing well out there. I'm going to be sharing with you some good info about autoimmune disease today and how it's helped my mom, and a little bit of the science behind it so that you can better understand autoimmune disease and how it works when your immune system decides to go rogue. That's right. So a couple weeks ago, we started my mom on the Sambucus nigra, or the black elderberry, and she started noticing some of her autoimmune issues start to clear up. Well, not completely, but definitely made some drastic improvements. She is here to share her story with you guys today.
Hi, my name's Lori, and I have several autoimmune diseases. The list of my complaints is very long, but it includes things like Crohn's disease, fibromyalgia, arthritis, and on and on and on. Before I tried the black elderberry, I would have times where my fibromyalgia would get me down, and I was laying in bed recovering for days or weeks at a time. Just misery. I might have a day where I could get up and do a few things, and then I was right back in bed. So I had gone and visited my grandkids, and I was maybe gone 2 days, came back, and I just couldn't get over feeling like I had a nagging cold and just aching. It was like a mild form of the flu virus, but it wasn't, because I could get up, I could do some things, and then I was right back in bed. And I was amazed when I started taking the black elderberry that within a very short time, same day, I was feeling better. I could get up, I could do my dishes, I could do my arts and crafts, I could go to the dojo and work out, and it was amazing. But if I quit taking it, I was right back to having a day where I was just wiped out, because I was feeling so healthy and so active that I was using up all my energy. So if I consistently take it in the morning, I am really good to go for the day. So it's been a great benefit for me, and I've been suffering and working with this for over 20 years.
So yeah, my mom's been dealing with autoimmune disease for quite a long time now. It's really, really difficult to deal with because it causes a lot of issues, especially a lot of it being related to leaky gut, which is something you can also work on. But today we're going to be focusing on what elderberry does for people with autoimmune disease and how it could help them out potentially. There's also some other plants that you might be interested in that could help too, that I'll share later in the video. And on top of that, there's some really good science that I'd like to share with you, a few articles that I found relating to how it sort of modulates the immune system. And this is important because if your immune system is out of whack, it's not doing too well, it's better to try to bring that back into balance. And that is something that my channel is named Balancing Life. So whether it's your immune system or whatever it is, I don't know, but we're gonna work on it. We got this together, you guys. We can do it.
Yes, we can.
We're gonna get these issues straightened out one way or another.
Alright, so over here on organicfacts.net, we've got a little section here about immunity, and if you look a little further into it, right here, it says elderberries can protect against the effects of autoimmune disorders, even alleviating certain symptoms and the associated pain of AIDS. So this is important, alleviating certain symptoms of the autoimmune issue, which is very interesting and would also explain why my mom is having such a drastic change in things like her mood, pain level, and energy levels, because autoimmune does affect those things. If you come over here to Ethno Herbalist, they point out something even more interesting. Right here it talks about how elderberry can actually regulate cytokines in our immune system. Cytokines are small chemicals in our body that allow our immune system to work correctly. When our body is infected with a virus, cytokines communicate this infection to other parts of our immune system. Interestingly, elderberry caused the most dramatic spike in TNF-A, an 8-fold increase. TNF-A, a tumor necrosis factor, is a cytokine produced by activated macrophages in a response to an infection from microbes, such as bacteria. Macrophages are a critical cell in our immune system. Macrophages act like scavengers, scanning our body for dangerous debris or dangerous bacteria. It's encouraging to see that elderberry boosts TNF-A levels, as it suggests this plant can enhance macrophage activity. Let's dive a little further into this. Over here at hindawi.com, right here in the editorial Mediators of Inflammation, we've got cytokines in autoimmune disease. And this is an important study they published, and I'd like to share a little bit with you about that. They were talking about the incidence and increase over the second half of the 20th century and how it's really become a major health problem. These diseases are usually chronic and can be life-threatening. It says here the causes of autoimmune disease remain largely unknown, but we'll get into that later. Cytokines, including pro-inflammatory cytokines and anti-inflammatory cytokines, are important players in the pathogenesis of these diseases through multiple ways, such as regulating inflammation and angiogenesis. There's pro-cytokines, which is for inflammation, and anti-inflammatory cytokines. So we've got both. And I'll let you be able to read through this. I'll leave the links in the description for you to check it out. But to keep this video shorter, I'd like to just come down here. If we take a look, one of the keys to control autoimmune disease is an improved understanding of our cytokine response in these diseases, which will aid in the development of effective immunotherapeutic strategies. This special issue encompasses molecular mechanisms of cytokines in immunopathogenesis of autoimmune diseases from bench to bedside. So if we come over here to raysahelian.com on cytokines, they talk about cytokines, depression, and mood changes, where it says here, it is known that cytokines influence brain neurotransmitters and the activity of the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, both of which are disturbed in depression. So this shows the cytokine role in mood and depression. It's also showing how it can be potentially regulated here with elderberry. Well, is it just elderberry, or are there other things as well? We'll get into that here in just a second. So if you come here, this is also important over at lifeextension.com. Now, they do sell a lot of supplements, but I did like this article that they pointed out in 2014, turning off the cytokine switch. So right here's an important spot to read too. Known as HMGB1 for High Mobility Group Box 1, this intriguing protein molecule triggers the release of cytokines, a collection of chemical signals that generate inflammation in your body. And as this inflammation accumulates, aging accelerates to the point that most scientists now speak about inflammaging. So this is interesting. So if we look down here, we've got the cytokine switch, the cytokine storm, and they really talk about elevated HMGB1 levels have now been found to be associated with many acute and chronic inflammation-related disorders, including things like, well, look over here, atherosclerosis, right? Congestive heart failure, autoimmune disorders, multiple sclerosis, rheumatoid arthritis, cancer, diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease, Crohn's disease. So if we look here, we've got my mom's issues here. We've got Crohn's. We've also got things like here, atherosclerosis. Okay, we've got the neurodegenerative disorders. We've also got the autoimmune issues, and there's also some other things going on. So the immune system plays a massive role in these diseases. If we come here to the Journal of Ethnopharmacology, they talk about how Gamgungtang downregulates autoimmunity through induction of Th2 cytokine production by lymphocytes in experimental thyroiditis model. And basically what they do is they go through and talk about how the immune system can be modulated by other plants as well, which is interesting. So it turns out we have a whole pile of immune modulating herbs that can actually be taken. And look right there, elder flower. We've got one right there, and elder fruit. So Sambucus nigra, right? That is the elderberry. We also have things like the schisandra berries, and we also have ashwagandha root. We've got ginseng. We've got, let's see here, shiitake mushroom, reishi mushroom, some more ginseng, astragalus. Familiar with all these plants, and believe me, they are quite medicinal. So this is good to see here. Now, this is on the Sea Wise Woman website for excuse me. This is on the Wise Woman Ways blog. If you look over here, it's the immunomodulating herbs page. There's lots of good info in here I recommend you check out. Right here it says, most immunomodulators also possess adaptogenic qualities. This is important, especially when you're talking about adapting to emotional, physical, and mental stress. I know my mom has had to deal with that over many years, and I think a lot of us do, but especially more so if you have autoimmune disease. Over here at greenmedinfo.com, there's another important read for you, especially if you're new to autoimmune or you're a little bit unfamiliar with what might be causing it and how we've bettered our understanding of what it is over the many years. This was posted on January 5th, 2018, so it's a pretty up-to-date article. It's not all in your head. Now, a lot of doctors used to think that that was true, but right here it says conventional allopathic medicine can no longer ignore that the body and mind are inextricably intertwined. So, this is really important, right? We want to restore immune homeostasis. Another one of those that is potentially good at that is stinging nettle. If we look over here at the origins of stress, oh, it's just so good to read. The biochemical mechanisms linking stress to autoimmune disease. They go through that. Boy, is that some gold to read right there. How adverse childhood experiences influence autoimmune risk. And if you look over here, we've got the biochemical evidence for the trauma-autoimmune connection. Now we can get further into those adaptogens, but they do make some recommendations and talk about different things. So those tons of studies were compiled for this one. We've got 26 references here, so please do feel free to read that out. I read that there with my mom, and she absolutely loved it. It's definitely a very good read. So it helps you better understand what you're dealing with, and if you better understand what you're dealing with, I think it really helps the individual better treat what they're trying to work on. So I wanted to point out these last two pages here. This one's on researchgate.net. It talks about schisandrin, which is the schisandra berry, inhibiting the Th1, Th17 differentiation and promoting regulatory T-cell expansion in mouse lymphocytes. I think this is cool because, again, we're talking about regulating the immune system. And if you come over here, we've got schisandra, and this is on the naturopathic herbalist. And right here we've got liver protective and immune modulating properties. They appear to protect the liver by activating liver enzymes and produce glutathione. This is also important, especially when you're dealing with a person that is taking a lot of medications to treat autoimmune. I think it's especially good to protect the liver. So eating more of a whole foods plant-based diet can be especially good for autoimmune. I know with my mom, we've worked really hard to adjust her diet and make some drastic improvements. And we can maybe share that with you in another video. But yeah, with that being said today, thank you again for joining in today and understanding a little bit about the role of cytokines in autoimmune disease and seeing how they can change not only your immune system but your mood. It can cause things like depression, and diving even deeper into the understanding of your immune system and how it can really affect your overall health and well-being, and especially what you might be able to do for it. And don't forget, thanks again for watching today. I really appreciate it, guys. You all take care, be well, live well, and find that balance back in your life with some balancing life.